Hello students, in today's class we are going to discuss about a new chapter, brief overview of Python. So in the previous classes we have discussed about all the basics of computers and also we have discussed about the basics of Python even, like what is the need to study about Python, so what is the programming language, all these things we have already discussed a lot. So now we are going to discuss so what is the purpose to study about a programming language and what are the uses of studying about this. All these things we are going to discuss in today's class. So let us get into the topic. The very first thing to study about a programming language is a computer can neither think nor it cannot make any decision on its own. So that is the main reason. As it cannot think or it cannot take any decision on its own, what we people used to do, we will give instructions to the computer. So instructions in the sense it is not only by using the keyboard or with the mouse you will give instructions just by giving a click or by pressing the keyboard. Instructions you may give as a command, like through the voice process we may give instructions like how we give to the robot, or else if we are going to work with a computer to perform a specific task, like you're going to develop an application or you're going to develop any game related software, we have to provide instructions in the form of programming language. So you will provide an ordered set of instructions, so that represents a program or the command which you give to the computer. So based on the commands which you give, as everything you give in the form of English, that will be translated into binary language, and in turn once the process gets over it gets translated into the human readable language called English, and things gets displayed on the monitor. So this is the basic principle of computer which it works, that we have that we know already. And programmer. So how do we give instructions in the form of program? So program is nothing but an ordered set of instructions, or even you can call it as a commands which is executed by the computer. So ordered set of instructions, you have to go in a sequential manner. Whatever instructions you're going to do, for example, if you're going to develop any develop a web page. So develop a web page, you may use HTML as a programming language, and you will start to write codings, right? So when you start to write the codings, first thing you will start from the HTML code, right? And HTML tag, and then you will start with the body, then title. So you will keep going in a sequential manner. So based on that your web page will be designed and developed, right? So like that you have to write a program in an orderly manner. So these ordered set of instructions or commands, you will call it as a program, which helps the computer to perform a specific task. So whatever task you want to do, whether you're going to design and develop an application, whether you're going to develop a web page, or you're going to develop any mobile application, so whatever you're going to do, everything relies completely on a programming language. So even whatever applications which you use in your computer nowadays, even in your mobile phones, behind all the applications, they make use of these programming languages. It can be C, C++, Java, or HTML, JavaScript, anything can be. So whichever language is comfortable for the user, he will make use of that particular language to design and develop an application. Already we have discussed like general purpose software and customized software, right, in the previous lessons. So general purpose software means the software which is already available in your system. With that you will perform some specific task. Whereas customized software, if the person is going to open a shop and he needs a billing software for his shop, what he will do, he will approach a programmer and he will ask him to customize the billing software according to his requirements, right? So for those purposes we make use of these programming languages. We've understood. And before you start to write a program, few things which you have to keep in your mind. It is much similar to mathematics, like how you solve a problem in mathematics. First you will read and understand the problem. So only when you understand the question you will be able to work out on the solution. Otherwise you will not be able to get the solution in mathematics. So first thing, you have to understand the problem, and then you have to analyze it. What are the requirements for the problem? of what are the requirements you need to solve this problem, or how it can work in real-time applications. So in all the different angles, you have to analyze the problem. You have to think everything from the customer end if someone is approaching for a project from your end as well. After analyzing everything, you have to solve it in a very logical manner. So these three things you have to keep in your mind before you start to write a program. And the process of writing a program is called programming. So programming means the process of writing a program, in which way you write, how do you follow everything, all the procedures. So that procedure is called programming. Clear? And the language. So you would have come across many different programming languages like C and C++, even HTML, right? So all the languages, why do we use? We use to specify some set of instructions to the computer. So using those languages, you will give some instructions to the computer to perform a specific task. So using HTML code, you are developing a web page, right? That is getting displayed in the browser. Yes or not? So using these languages, as you perform some certain task in a computer, these languages are called a programming languages. Clear? And an example for programming languages you can consider as C, C++, then Python, which you're going to study here in this year in 11th and 12th, and Java, JavaScript. So many different programming languages are available nowadays. So using these programming languages, you can develop any applications that you need. And one more thing, when you're writing a program, the correct codes or the instructions which you specify in a proper sequence, you have to follow up. So which is extremely important in writing a program. This is where the computational thinking which comes into play. Clear? And based on these things, let us discuss a few examples. If you see this Google web page, so the Google homepage, if you see, how do these letters which appears in different colors, sometimes even Google Doodle will appear, and the search bar, and then if you click on a particular tab or else this particular link, it will take you to the other pages, the respective pages. If I click on Gmail, it will take me to the respective Gmail page to log in and view all my mails. So how everything is getting connected. So it is all because of the programming language behind this web page. So this Google web page has been developed with the help of many programming languages in combination. To view the page source in which programming language they have written, you can right click on this Google web page, and if you see the page source, if you click on the view page source option, it will take you to the source window. See here, these are the codes they have used to develop this Google home page. So if you when you are searching many different information in Google homepage, each and every page which you view, behind that every particular page you have so many source code like this. Can you see here HTML? So it makes use of this HTML JavaScript programming language they have used to develop this particular web page. So not only HTML JavaScript, in the front end they have used this JavaScript, and in the back end they have used Python programming language. So I'll show you here. See here, Google homepage. So the front end they have used the JavaScript and TypeScript, then in the back end they have used C, C++, Go, then Java and Python. So all these programming languages they have used at the back end, and whatever information which you give in Google homepage, everything gets stored in the history, or else sometimes it gets stored, the details which you give may get stored, right? Even Wikipedia, it will allow you to allow you to edit all the data. So how does everything get stored? It is because of the database. So here they make use of a database. I have already told you, which is much similar to Excel, like how you store everything for your future reference. So likewise, it gets stored, it stores everything in a particular database called Bigtable and MariaDB. And even if you take Facebook, in Facebook also they make use of JavaScript, Facebook, YouTube, Yahoo. So at the back end they have used Python. Here in Facebook and YouTube they make use of Python programming language at the back end. Even Instagram, which you use nowadays, that particular software also makes use of this Python at the back end. Clear? And these are the different databases which they use at the which they use to store all your data. For Facebook, in case in Facebook, if you're going to give some comments, all the comments get stored in this particular database. So this is how your particular web applications or the social networking sites will work based on these programming languages. So behind each and every application which you use nowadays, there lies a programming language. Without a programming language, we cannot design or develop any applications. Clear? Now we are going to discuss about Python programming language. So Python, by the name itself, you can understand, like you can compare it with the reptile Python, right? So Python, how the snake will be, so it is its body will be usually very flexible. It can move very fast because of the flexibility. Yes, and it is much similar to that. This Python programming language is also very easy, very simple, and it is highly flexible for the beginners to understand. So that is the reason why this name Python has been kept for this programming language. So because of the flexibility, because of this high flexibility, this name Python has been kept for this programming language. Clear? And it is very popular as well, easy to learn programming languages. Any beginners who is willing to learn about the programming language, they can start up with Python. So it is much easier when compared to other programming languages. If you take C and C++, they make use of a structured format. They will follow a structured format in the programming language, whereas in Python it is not like that. So it is very easy and simple to understand, and this was created by the person Guido van Rossum in 1991. And this Python, if you see, it is used in a variety of fields, like including software development, like I have told you, like billing software, or else if you want to develop any game applications or whatever you want to develop in the software development, they can make use of this Python programming language, or web development, then scientific computing, or big data, artificial intelligence, the fifth generation of computers. So everywhere they started using this Python programming language. It is very trending nowadays after this Java. And to download this Python software, as I have told you, there are many three different types of softwares, like a free and open source software, proprietary software, and freeware, right? And this Python comes under free and open source software. So you can download Python from this official website of python.origin. So you can download and install the latest version of Python from this particular website. Okay, now the features of Python. So if you look at the features of Python, it is highly interactive. Interactive means the communication between two people, we will call it as interactive, right? When one person is asking some question, the other person will immediately respond. That represents interactive. Similarly, Python will also respond then and there by communicating with the OS and the Python commands. It acts, this Python shell, we will work on the Python shell. It acts like an interface between the commands which you give and between the OS. So it is highly interactive. Then and there you can get the result, as Python is an interpreted language. Interpreter and compiler. First know the difference between interpreter and compiler. So in C and C++, what will you do normally? First you will write all the programs, and finally you will save and run all the programs as a whole. In between, it will not allow you to check for the errors. Have you ever noticed that? In C and C++ programming language, you will write all the programs and you will save it first, and then you will run as a whole. So when you run as a whole, at last only it will display all the errors, whatever errors you have committed in your program. That represents a compiler based language. That is, you will compile your program. Compiling means as a whole it will run the program and it will check for errors. Whereas interpreter means line by line it will check for errors. So each and every line it will check out for errors. If you're going to commit any mistake in one line, it will not allow you to type the coding in the next line. That's why it is called as an interpreted language. Clear? So this is the difference between interpreter and compiler. Interpreter means line by line it will check for errors, whereas a compiler means as a whole it will check for errors in the program. So that is the difference, and Python is an interpreted language and it has very simple syntax when compared to other programming languages. Then it is becoming increasingly popular because of these features, like it is easy to understand, more expressive, free and open source, like FOSS software I have told you, and then it is highly portable, and one more thing, it is easily. It can work on any platform. It is platform independent. It is not that it can work in one particular platform like Windows OS or some other operating systems. It can work on any kind of operating systems. Clear. And it has large standard libraries, interpreted GUI programming. It supports GUI programming, graphical user interface. Yes, that's why these are the salient features of Python. And now, advantages of Python. So what are the advantages? First thing, platform independent, that I have told you. So in any platform you can run and you can write and execute Python programs. Readability. So you can easily understand by reading all the program codes in Python. Object oriented language. So everything, the variables which you use, you will call it as the objects. So object oriented language it supports. Then higher productivity in the sense you don't have to write so many number of so much of codes to make work done. Whereas in C and C++ and Java, if you see, you have to write more number of codes to complete a specific task in a computer or to perform a specific task. But in Python it is not like that. With a less number of codes itself, you can complete more works. So that's why we call it as higher productivity and less learning time. Supports GUI programming, and large number of libraries are available in Python. And if you look at the syntax highlighting means each and every code which you write, each and every single code which you write in Python will be highlighted with different color codes. So if you are going to give some input statements will be displayed with a different color code. Output statements will have a different color code. And if the error messages is gonna get displayed, error messages will be displayed with different color codes. So because of that, you will be able to understand very easily which is input or which is output, or where you have committed the mistake exactly. So it makes it makes the work very easy. So that's why the syntax has been highlighted with different colors. Now applications already we have discussed in which places they are using Python. So Google search engine, they make use of Python. YouTube, it makes use of Python. Apart from that, for system programming, GUI programming, internet scripting and web gaming, so everywhere, even the commercial robots. And for space and scientific applications also, they make use of Python programming language nowadays. Okay, so we have discussed so many things related to Python, like features, advantages and its applications. Now let us discuss how to work with Python. So to work in Python, what we have to do is you have to download the software first, and once you download the software, to write and run the Python programs interactively, either you can use the command line window or you can work in the script mode. So if you look at the command line window, it will allow you to type the coding as well. Immediately you will get the result. So that is called as command line window. And this Python software, especially Python language especially, you will work on a particular platform called IDLE. IDLE means Integrated Development Learning Environment. So if you look at this IDLE, it is an environment where on this particular environment you will work with Python. So not only Python, even many different programming languages also makes use of this particular environment, because it has an important feature which will allow the user to edit, run, browse and debug a Python program from one single interface itself. Like writing a program in one particular window and viewing the output in another window, it is not like that. So everywhere you can write and run a program, you can correct the errors in the program in the same window itself. That is why it is called as a single interface. So everything you can do from one particular window. So that's why they make use of this IDLE, which is Integrated Development Learning Environment. So Python, this IDLE which comes with Python, it allows you to edit, run, you can browse a program, you can debug a Python program from one particular interface. Now, two different modes in working with Python I have told you. One is interactive mode and the other one is script mode. So Python shell, if you look at Python shell, see here, this Python shell is also called as interactive mode. So Python shell, why I call it as an interactive window, means we can type the Python code as well as you can see the output in the same window. Clear? That's why we call it as an interactive window, or you can even refer to as Python shell. So this Python shell, if you consider, it acts as an interface between the Python commands which you give and between the OS. So this interactive interpreter of this Python is termed as Python shell, and in two different modes you can work in Python. So the two ways to run your program using Python interpreter are, one is interactive mode, which you can call it as the Python shell, and the other one is script mode. And this interactive mode, even you can call it as a command line interaction. When you see the window, Python window, you will understand why we call it like this. Interactive means then and there you will run the program, you will write the program code and you will get the result. That's why we call it as an interactive mode, and you can even call it as a command line interaction. Got it? And script mode. So if you take script mode, it is much similar to your notepad. So you would have, most of you would have used the notepad. So to type all your contents, you will make use of notepad, which is much similar to your MS Word document, right? So script mode is much similar to notepad in that you can type all your program codes and you can save it for future use, whereas in interactive mode you cannot save your coding for future use. For instant coding and instant result, you will make use of interactive mode, and to save your work for future use you will make use of script mode, and the script mode is also called as Python editor window. Clear? So as that allows you to edit later also, that's why we call it as Python editor window, script mode, and interactive window, or is also called as command line interaction, or even you can call it as Python shell. And even though if you work in script mode, your output will be displayed only in the Python shell. Now I'll tell you how to open this Python, how to open and work with Python. To start with Python IDLE, what you have to do is just go to start. If you click on the start button, in case if you have installed the Python software, it will display the Python softwares like this. In this you have to choose IDLE Python. So the latest software, once you download, you have to choose IDLE Python, and if you click on this button, immediately your Python window will open like this. So once you click on this, always your Python window will start up from the shell only. Shell already I have told you, which is the interactive window, or even you can call it as a command line window, right? So it always starts up in this shell. See, Python IDLE, it comprises Python IDLE is the software which is the environment where Python works on that, and it comprises Python shell as well as Python editor. This Python shell window will look like this only. So it is also called as interactive mode, and this Python editor, which is also called script mode, will look like this, much similar to the notepad if you see. Got it? So this is how your Python window will look like this. So in both the environments, the two ways to execute and run your Python program is these two windows. So this is the command line window, or else, and then this is the editor window. So in two different modes you can work in Python. I hope you have understood everything, and in the next class I'll tell you how to work with this Python shell. Got it? Thank you, children.